Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bantz with Lawrencia. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing great. Now for today's episode, I want to talk about investment as a first generation immigrant. You're investing in Nigeria or you're investing in the abroad, whichever one you choose. Now, I was having a conversation with a couple of friends of mine. One of them wanted to kind of invest and they were thinking of, which is better, investing in Nigeria or investing in diaspora? And for me, I argue that, I would prefer them to, at least that's their first investment. They should invest where they are, and then subsequently, when they get more money, they can invest in Nigeria. The other person, on the other hand, said, no, it is better to invest in Africa or invest in Nigeria because your investment is safer. It's safer in Nigeria. This person had over £15,000 to invest, and they were thinking of where that money is going to go, because one of the reasons was that they wanted to buy a house in the UK, but the problem was that the interest rate is high, there's inflation, mortgages are high, cost of living is high, and so they had that, deposit saved. But the problem was that they were thinking, okay, if they buy a house right now, they don't know how the market is going to be. They don't know if the house price is going to crash, or there's just a whole lot of negativity going on right now in the UK based on house prices and the housing market, because of the cost of living, because of the high interest rate, and a whole lot of things going on. So they were trying to figure out which routes to take, either to send that money back home, invest in something, and then later save another money to invest in a property. For me, I was like, listen, you've saved this money, this is what you wanted to use it for. Yes, the housing market is unpredictable right now, but it's never going to, you're never going to wake up one day and be like, especially for investment, you're never going to have that 100% assurance that what you're putting your money into is going to, like, even, okay, you're going back to Nigeria to go and invest in Nigeria. I gave an example of, there's this guy, Ikena Online, who shared that in 2020, he bought a land of 5 million naira, and in 2020, 5 million was equivalent to 14,300, let's say approximately $15,000, and then he bought this land. Today the land has appreciated and it's about 50 million naira now, but he was saying that doing that conversion now, 2020 he's actually sent 14,300, but today that money, converting that same 50 million naira that he has appreciated 10 million, it is 11,000 something dollars, which means that he has lost over $3,000. Now, is that an investment? To somebody in Nigeria, yes, because you have over 10 million naira on top of the 5 million you invested. But somebody in abroad, you have lost money. I also remember in 2020, I bought a house. I started the process before the pandemic, but during that pandemic, I had to halt everything, especially from March to, I think, June. I had to stop everything until we could go out. But then I've already made my deposit, for the plots that I wanted. Now I went back after the pandemic, then things were, nobody knew what was going on. There was lockdown. When I was telling some friends that I was going to buy a house, people were looking at me like, you're crazy. You can wake up tomorrow and lose your job, and then you put all your money in this house. Let's say you lose your job right now. If you cannot pay your mortgage, the bank is going to collect the house, and then you've lost everything. Like, there were so many negativities, which is understandable because the whole world was on lockdown, basically. But because I started the process already before the pandemic, I just said, I have this deposit already. Like, what am I going to do with it? Send it back to Nigeria? No, it's better for me to just buy, the house. Whatever comes, whatever comes out of it, I will take it. You would not believe how much that house has appreciated, because from 2021, when after lockdown, people were now working from homes. People that were in the cities near where they could commute, renting, because they could easily commute to work. And then right now, 2021, people were working from home. So most of those people started buying houses, going to different places to buy house. So house prices went up like crazy. Now I cannot even tell you how how much equity I have on that house. Today I'm sitting down smiling about it, but in 2020 it was a crazy market because it was uncertain. Nobody knew what was going on, but I still went ahead to do that. I was giving that example to this friend, giving them example of somebody who actually that same 2020, during that panic, they took that money to Nigeria, and they have, instead of appreciating, they have lost 3,500. Let's say if that person has gone ahead to invest in wherever they are, like a deposit on a house, or like whatever you wanted to use that money for. I don't know what they wanted to use this for, but let's say that person went ahead and did that. Today they would have been telling a different story, because even if that money is in the bank and there are no profit, it will still be 14,300 and not $11,000. So that was my own argument. The other person talking about investing in Nigeria, it was all about, benefits. Listen, benefits can be tangible and it can be intangible. And their point was very valid, because as a first generation immigrant, they feel that you need to do something back home. You need to kind of invest back home. You need to show you need to show people that you have arrived. You need to how can they know when you don't put up a structure in Nigeria? How would they know? So it is when you do that people will be like, okay, this person, yes, you traveled abroad. Now, because right now people don't even listen to me. They feel like, oh, you because you've not done anything that they could see. So regardless of your words, they look at you like, If I had used that money to build a structure and then take a Range Rover on a finance basis, you when you arrive, people would respect you the way you arrive and what they could see. So I understand that aspect of it, and it is very valid. But my point is, what I will tell everybody is, if you are in diaspora and you're investing, investment, for me, I think investment is something that you want to get a return from. If I want to build house in the village for my parents, just to feel like, okay, yes, in our compound there's this edifice or there's this mansion, that is a different kind of benefit, because that is intangible. That is something that you want people to see and appreciate your family, or appreciate the fact that, yes, you have made money. That is a very good benefit. But what happens most time is that we all came into this country when we're in our early 20s. Today we're in our 30s, and let me not say talk about everybody, because I will say for myself that I know how hard I worked in my 20s. Like, there's no way I would do that kind of job for any amount of money in my 30s right now. In my 20s, we're working 3 jobs. You don't even sleep because you're working, trying to make money, trying to do this, trying to do that. The first money you make, trying to invest that money so that it could increase for you. It could, like today, right now, if I want to have that maybe benefit of saying that, oh, I have a structure in Nigeria, I could easily take out equity from my house and do that, and still that will not affect me in any way. You understand? But somebody that took that initial capital and invested in Nigeria, I wouldn't say invested, just built something in Nigeria or bought a land, and today that is even less than what you sent. That could be very frustrating. That is not an investment. That is something that you want to show. Which is okay. For me, it's okay. What I have seen in diaspora is that once people get that initial capital, let's say you've worked a lot, you've earned that much money, if you don't invest it wisely, it is very difficult for you, because as time goes on, you're aging. There are certain things you did in your 20s that you will not be able to do in your 30s. And most time these people are in their 40s, in their 50s. So there's a very slim chance that you could save that much capital to reinvest wherever you are. There's this man in Canada who said Revolution Plus Property. He said he bought lands, about how many hectares of land, and according to them, or according to the man, they are refusing to give him the land. And according to Revolution Plus, he made some payments, but he still have outstanding payments that he couldn't make. Now, the man shared a video where he was homeless. You can imagine how cold Canada is right now. And this man is on the street. He's sleeping on the street. He's like just a mattress. How, like, I was just like, wow. And this man sent, according to him, he sent 40 million to purchase land. This is land though, this is not even house. This is a land that, okay, you can sell. Let's say he sent 40 million to purchase that land. Maybe at that point, he sent over 80,000 Canadian dollars. Today, 40 million Naira to Canadian dollars is less than even that 40 million. It's probably $40,000. You understand? So you have lost half, because he said he sent this thing in 2017. 2017 dollar to Naira was still about 200 and something. So even if he's saying, okay, sell that land, give me back my money, you're going to be getting half of what you have invested. How is that profitable? And he's on the street. He's sleeping on the street. Let's say in that 2017, he bought a house. Even if he has lost his job, he will still, highest, I hear people say, oh, what if I lose my job and then I can't pay my mortgage? It's just a ridiculous argument, because let's say you lose your job and you can't pay your mortgage, you can negotiate with the bank, pay just interest, or even if you can't even pay your interest, you can get somebody, rent out the house, then be homeless for that point. Or if it's a 2-bedroom, you can stay in 1 bedroom, rent out 1 bedroom. You can find a way to get that money and pay whatever. Most times when they take people's houses, when you hear somebody in diaspora, oh, they took my house, is because that person did not follow the right process. So today, this man right now is in Canada. He's homeless, sleeping outside. This is somebody that sent over 80,000 Canadian dollars to Nigeria in 2017, and right now that money is half of what he sent in 2017. Is that an investment? People should really start looking into things. I knew somebody who took a loan in the bank to send to Nigeria, about £5,000, because according to him, dollar was going to come back to 250, so he would have made another £5,000 on top of the whole thing. Today, pounds is over 1,500. So he has lost £1,000. Like, and this person, listen, I can't even, because he's a very good friend of mine, so I'm not even going to go into details with that one. The reality is, if you want to, depending on the kind of benefit you want to get, you should do what you want to do. But if you're thinking about investment, if you're thinking about getting a return on your investments, I would suggest your first investment should be where you are. Not even, investment property, residential property. I know a friend who had money and they wanted to get into residential, buy a house and then rent it out. And they are living in rented apartments. I was like, why would you want to do that? Let's say you're living in a rented apartment and you don't rent that one out. What is going to happen? You're paying rent here and then you're paying mortgage here. Why don't you sort out where you're living first? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you can save you are working, you're paying your rent, you can save that amount of money. There is nothing stopping you from, when you're now paying your mortgage, to save the same amount of money. There's nothing stopping you. You just need to, whatever you were doing then, you can still do the same thing. Just that your comfort level is now different. You now have an investment. You now have an appreciating asset. You now have, regardless of how crazy the market is still better. You have something that at least increases in value, and then you can now do whatever you want to do based on, okay, the benefits, intangible benefits, or not monetary benefits, or benefit that people will see and know that you are now odogu, or you have now arrived. Anyway, I don't know what this friend is going to do. We kind of bombarded him with information. What I would say is, anybody that is trying to make an investment, especially first generation immigrants in your 20s, in your 30s, I would say, listen, invest where you are. Like, your home, where at the end of the day, you're still paying mortgage, you're still paying rent. Why not shift that to mortgage? As most times you're even paying lesser than what you would pay when you're renting. Sort that one out, and then whatever extra you're getting, you can now build whatever you want to build. But that investment is there. That is a cushion for you. People say, oh, that is where I'm going to retire. Or more. Let me tell you, the truth is, if let's say you buy a house here and then you're retiring the next 20 years, the next 20 years you have equity, you pay down your mortgage. It's either you've paid it off, or at least you've paid most of it. You can take that money and then go and invest, and then buy a retirement home wherever. But if you say you're building a retirement home today, and then you're retiring in the next 30, 40 years, that house, can you imagine a house in the next 40, which we know that Nigeria, maintenance is an issue. So that house would have fallen apart because you're not there. Maybe people you've rented it out to did not take care of it, and then you can't even stay there. In the next 30, 40 years, you will not be able to retire in that home. But let's say you bought a house here, and then when it's time for retirement, you sell that house, use the money, and then go and get a retirement home. It is way better, way cheaper, way safer, and you get exactly what you need at that point in your life. Anyway, with these few points of mine, I hope I convinced that my friend, and I hope I'm convincing you that first investment should be your primary residence. Sort that out, whether mortgage, whether regardless of what, because at the end of the day, you're still paying rent. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. Please like, and share. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.